Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.
San Diego is soaked, but will be drying out soon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Now that the storms have passed, the focus turns to the cleanup. We have two reports today around San Diego County, starting with Alexander Wynn in the Tijuana River Valley.
Neither rain, sleet, or snow will stop the U.S. Postal Service, but a flooded road will. Those homes will have to wait until the water recedes before they can get their mail.
Because that happens every single year.
Eileen Barnes owned Surfside Ranch in San Ysidro. She says every time it rains, the area gets flooded over.
This is like supposed to be the most rain that we've gotten in a couple days consecutively.
According to the National Weather Service, this area got about 2 or 3 inches of rain over the weekend, but up in the mountain, it's about 4 to 5 inches, and all of that water is coming down here to the Tijuana River Valley, and this is what you get. This was the scene last night as wind and rain battered and soaked the area. Nearby Ponyland had to call Customs Border Patrol for help evacuating their horses.
Anytime that we can help members of the community, yeah, we certainly will.
Angel Moreno is the spokesperson for CBP. He says the call came in around 12:30 in the afternoon, and the Imperial Beach Horse Patrol Unit responded to rescue nearly 30 horses.
Somewhere in the realm of 20 of them were actually taken to Imperial Beach Border Patrol Station and are currently being housed there, waiting for the flooding of the area, the waters and whatnot to evaporate, and so that those horses can eventually be returned back to the rightful owners.
Today, the owners of Ponyland say they're still evacuating some horses back at Surfside Ranch. Barnes says other than being stuck in the mud, her horses are doing fine.
But I mean, I don't like them to be standing in mud because it's not good for their feet.
Alexander Wynn, KPBS News.
Whenever we get storms, we usually hear about beach closures in the South Bay, and this time it's more widespread. San Diego County's Department of Environmental Health and Quality says sewage contamination is affecting coast and inland waterways, and that includes Morrison Pond and Sweetwater Regional Park, South Ponto State Beach, and a good chunk of San Diego Bay from the Choyas Creek to Shelter Island. There are also some closures in the La Jolla area. People can expect to see warning signs posted until tests show the risk has subsided, and that usually takes about 3 days from when the storms end. Well, San Diego has once again opened its inclement weather shelter. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer tells us the storm that's just moved on was devastating for many of the region's unsheltered residents.
Here next to the 163 freeway is part of the recently flooded San Diego River. It's an area many homeless people call home. But with the recent storms and floods that the area's had, they've gone in search of drier land. CC Brewer was trying to stay dry under a makeshift tent and tarp near Fashion Valley Mall. That's one of the parts of San Diego that got hit hardest by flooding.
I am holed up in Palm Canyon on the edge of Hotel Circle because of the rain. I knew it was going to be raining. I camped close down the road, and I was afraid of a mudslide.
Facilities.
Bob McElroy is the CEO of Alpha Project, a nonprofit organization that provides services and shelter to the homeless. He told KPBS there's been a rise in the number of people living in high-risk areas like riverbeds and canyons. His organization's outreach teams help to connect people in those places to their shelters amid the storm.
When things get really bad like this, people are more enthusiastic about coming inside for services, so we've been set aside some beds at all 4 facilities for folks, and we've seen a dramatic increase in folks coming up out of the riverbed.
At least 7 people had to be rescued due to the flooding of the San Diego River. Brewer says others living in the riverbed branched out, looking for higher ground. He and McElroy agree that most people like himself want and need permanent housing, and without it, more people will be in dangerous situations.
There's always people that last to hear, the floodgates are opening, run. They don't know. They're sitting in their tents, and all of a sudden here comes this wall of water. It's happened several times. Luckily, I know not to be down there when it's raining.
The city's inclement weather shelter program will provide over 100 beds tonight at 4 locations throughout San Diego. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
More weather coverage is coming up. A bit later, we'll show you some of the damage in other parts of California. We'll also have our weather forecast, which calls for drier days ahead. Students in the San Diego Unified School District are starting the new year with a new connection. The district has launched an online engagement platform created by students for students. KPBS education reporter MG Perez has the story.
It's as close as a click.
I can click the little circle here, and it leads me directly to the application portal.
Leah Nepomuceno is a senior here at Scripps Ranch High School. Like most of her classmates, she uses her cell phone to communicate and scroll through social media. Instagram is one of her favorites.
It's very accessible, especially with these slides, infographics that are so easy to read and have like nice pictures or designs.
San Diego Unified is using Instagram to promote its new student engagement website, a clearinghouse of information with everything from internships to scholarships, school clubs to sporting events, social justice projects, and sex education.
Students are and will be the leaders of tomorrow, but they can also be the leaders of today. And I think this website is a huge first step into making that a reality.
Matthew Key Toriano is one of the student members of the San Diego Unified School Board who helped in the development of the engagement website, along with his colleague, Leah Nepomuceno.
We finally have launched the student engagement website with a special thanks to Lorena, who is our student engagement intern.
Lorena Ford is also a graduate of Scripps Ranch High School and now a freshman at San Diego State, using her experience to develop the engagement connection.
I believe that students should be active partners in their education. They shouldn't just be receivers. I think if we're going to offer students an education, they should have have some input and be at that table.
Student school board members are looking for more than just engagement this school year. They'd like a vote on the board that actually counts, and maybe some compensation for the job they're doing too. Leah and Matthew are working on a resolution with other board members to support legislation that would recognize students as full voting members, eligible to be paid like the adults. Their efforts will be something students can also follow on the new engagement website. MG Perez, KPBS News.
San Diego Unified teachers say they need more support as schools add more 4-year-olds to the transitional kindergarten program. Around 100 teachers raised their concerns with the district last week, and KPBS reporter Claire Tregesser has more.
The teachers union had a listening session with San Diego Unified Superintendent Dr. Lamont Jackson. They were raising issues about the new grade in California, transitional kindergarten. Julia Capper was at the meeting.
It was a little bit unclear this year to many of the teachers what they were supposed to be doing.
She's the president of the San Diego chapter of the Association for the Education of Young Children. She says teachers want clearer guidelines on how and what they should be teaching in Universal Transitional Kindergarten, or UTK.
So there's just hasn't been real clear communication. There's kind of there's a district office, the department, early learning department, giving communication, and then but a lot of the communication is, oh, your principals, ask your principals. So the principals are supposed to know, but the principals haven't gotten training on what the UTK is supposed to be either.
Teachers held the meeting to tell Superintendent Jackson that schools need more transitional kindergarten teachers, more space for 4-year-olds to play.
They need a lot of outdoor learning time, and the space in an elementary school is not necessarily set up easily for that.
And teachers said they need more training on this younger age group. Capper says the superintendent was receptive.
He said, I hear what you're saying. I hear your passion, And the thing that he said was, I don't know early learning. I'm not trained in that. And I want you to tell me how to do this better.
Kappert says from the meeting and from what she's seen in classrooms, it's clear that teachers are doing their best during this transition.
Teachers are working so hard. The children are still benefiting. They're still enjoying. They're still, developing those skills, having those relationships. And it could be more. It could be better.
The challenge is that more kids will enroll in transitional kindergarten every year as these issues are worked out. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
And a spokesperson for the school district said in a statement that the event will help the district strengthen UTK, and they look forward to an ongoing partnership. San Diego gas and electric customers who are behind on their bills are getting some relief from the state legislature. The utility is delivering $51 million to customers with debt from 2020 and 2021, and that is around 130,000 people, according to SDGE. It is the second round of state debt relief linked to the COVID pandemic. San Diego Gas and Electric's Anthony Wagner says customers will see bill credits starting this week.
If you had debt in the qualified period of time set by the legislature, that debt will be lowered, if not eradicated.
And the relief comes as the utility's natural gas customers deal with an unprecedented increase in their gas bill. Many more than doubled this January compared to last year. And we'll be hearing the phrase debt ceiling a lot this week as Karen Kafer reports divided government in Washington brings a lot of questions about a big deadline that's just days away.
The debt ceiling will be the talk of Washington until lawmakers on Capitol Hill can compromise and take action. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen starting a clock for Congress to either raise or suspend the country's borrowing cap beyond the current $31.4 trillion or risk an unprecedented U.S. default. Yellen wrote lawmakers on Friday to say the U.S. will hit its debt limit on Thursday, but the Treasury Department will take measures to allow breathing room until at least June. The last time a political debate pushed the U.S. to a brink of default was 2011, and the chaos resulted in the first long-term credit rating downgrade in the nation's history.
To threaten to not pay America's debts would put all of us at risk.
But new House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has indicated he may take a hard line on a debt increase, likely to satisfy some conservatives at the heart of his bruising battle for the gavel.
Let's start paying this debt off and make sure the future generation has as many opportunities as we do.
If Congress can agree on an increase, experts say interest rates on everything from your credit card debt to auto loans to mortgages could skyrocket as it becomes more expensive for the U.S. to borrow. The stock market could tank, hammering retirement accounts. And the Treasury Department might decide to delay or temporarily halt payments like Social Security checks, Medicare disbursements, and military pay to cover debts. And while Washington isn't panicking just yet, the White House has recommended that an agreement come sooner rather than later to avoid rattling an already uncertain U.S. economy. In Washington, Karen Kafer, KPBS News.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the News Hour, China's population decreases for the first time in 60 years. What that means for the world. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
And that is climate activist Greta Thunberg being hauled away from a protest today in Germany. She was with a group opposed to the expansion of a coal mine near the border with Belgium. Police say that she and others would be released later in the day. Thunberg was also detained over the weekend at the same site. New census numbers paint a picture of just how disruptive natural disasters were in the U.S. last year. The government estimates 3.3 million people were displaced by hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, and other disasters. 1 million of those were in Florida due to Hurricane Ian. The UN lists disaster displacement as one of the direct impacts of climate change. California storms have the attention of President Joe Biden. White House staff say that the president will visit the Central Coast on Thursday to get a look at some of the damage. Ventura County is just one of many trouble spots. Lauren Posen shows us the mess that one man is dealing with at his damaged home.
You hear the cracking. What was that? And all of a sudden, it shook the house, it shook the foundation, shook everything. Just and then it was over.
In the 33 years Blair Witten has lived in his Ojai house, he says only one tree has fallen down. That was until the recent back-to-back storms.
Went about 3 feet into our bricks, and this is the other part that we already cut it off the roof, but if that had been over 5 feet, that's where we sleep, that's our bedroom, it wouldn't have been good.
When this oak tree came smashing down, it basically sliced this garage in half. Everything that was inside the garage basically just got destroyed. While the storms have come and gone, they've left a mess behind. About 3 miles north of Ojai, the Sheriff's Department has evacuated more people from Matilaha Canyon after piles of rock and mud caused severe damage to the road. And back in Ojai, Witten and his family are grateful no one got hurt and are working on repairs.
We've got several people that are going to come out and give us quotes on, we need a crane to lift this.
For the first time, he's a little worried about his home being surrounded by trees.
I don't think I'll be lucky the next time, no, it's too much luck.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Let's start you off with your weather headlines. Those showers and winds starting to diminish today. A drier and slightly warmer Wednesday on tap, but those chance for showers return again for Thursday. Let's take a look at your drought monitor through California. In the fall, we were still in that exceptional category to that extreme category right through Central California, extending northward across the north central portion of the state. Now, since all that rain has just continued to hit and slam into the area, we're in that severe to moderate drought as we've just been accumulating rainfall. Your California drought relief coming in the form again of lots of rain. San Francisco downtown, we've observed 10 points, or the normal is 10.61. We've observed well over that at 21.75 inches. Now, if we do the opposite end of the spectrum down in San Diego, the normal is 4.06 inches. We have observed well over that at 7.34 inches. Now, for your forecast for the middle of the week, your high surf advisory, that's going to remain in effect along the coastal regions through tonight. It expires at 1 a.m. for tomorrow. Tonight we're dropping down to a low of 45, mainly clear. It is going to be chilly. That's going to be the story across the area, even coming towards the more mountainous regions like Mount Laguna, dropping down to 27. Cooler there for your tomorrow, 38 for the high. Closer to the coast, San Diego at 61. So overall, it's going to be feeling sunny. It's going to be feeling great for your Wednesday, Thursday. Again, those chance for showers do return again. We drop down to the 50s again, but back up to the 60s by Friday. More inland again, a shower in spots possible. Similar story, 60 Wednesday, then back up to 60 again by Friday. As we take our eye to the mountains, we are going to be a little cooler to start the weekend on Friday, but back up to the 40s by Saturday, in the desert, staying in the 60s for the rest of the week. For KPBS, I'm Bree Guy.
It's a perk of being a champion as the Golden State Warriors enjoyed their trip to the White House today. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, a Bay Area native herself, welcomed Steph Curry and the rest of the team. Both were treated to their own personalized Warrior jerseys. The Warriors beat the Wizards Monday in their annual trip to D.C. Many of us have New Year's resolutions to get in better shape, whether that's healthy eating or exercising, but they're not always the easiest to stick to. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman got advice from fitness instructors on setting some reachable goals.
Inside the fitness center at San Diego Oasis, people are getting their dance and exercise on. This group class is called cardio drumming. Fitness instructor Andra Valencia leads the class.
It's definitely a good cardio workout. So we're using the whole body and we're engaging all the muscles in the body to stabilize ourselves, and so it's a really good full body workout.
Oasis recently held their annual Fitness Palooza. It's where seniors are able to try a variety of group exercise classes and plan ahead for any New Year's resolutions.
I think it's always a good time to reset your goals for the year and get going as far as, maybe we ate too much over the holidays, and so I think everyone's ready to just get rid of all of the winter fun that we've had and get started on a new page, fresh new page.
Some people will drop off after the beginning of the year, but Valencia says cardio drumming is typically fully booked. She says when it comes to New Year's resolutions to get fit, choose something that's going to be fun.
If it feels like it's a chore, if it feels like you're really struggling to get out and do something, just pick something easy and something that you can keep moving.
Lisa Garvey from Santee came to check out all the different classes, which included soul line dancing and Zumba Gold. She's here on a New Year's resolution to improve her health.
My husband passed away last year, and so I had been a caregiver for many years to take care of him, and so now I thought I have to take care of myself now.
Garvey says she's tried gyms before, but they weren't for her.
It wasn't an environment that I really thought was that much fun for me. I kind of like the camaraderie of the class because people are very supportive here. If you've never done it before, somebody will say, it's okay, it'll be great, don't worry, just watch everybody. And I kind of like that.
It's that sense of community that fitness instructor and personal trainer Russell Rowe says is key for long-term results. He also says it shouldn't feel like a chore.
If you can make it enjoyable, like bring music with you, talk to friends, go in a nice hike, where the scenery is beautiful, and do something that you can do that doesn't require you to drive too far or do, like convenience is a huge factor too. That's one of the things that allows people to stick with their exercise.
Rowe says his personal training business is very busy this time of year.
Because of New Year's resolutions, of course. People eat a little bit too much over Christmas, don't exercise as much, they're more socializing, having fun. And then they're like, oh, I gained a few pounds, so it's time to get back in shape.
Rowe says pairing a New Year's resolution with a long-term goal helps people stay motivated. He also says people shouldn't be expecting results overnight.
As a personal trainer, you try and get people not to focus on the weight so much as the behavioral changes that will bring the weight off gradually, naturally. So you're looking at more at lifestyle changes. Here we go.
January is definitely the busiest time of the year for us. We typically start the year with an incentive, a promotion to make it even easier to come.
Terry Moss is Senior Director of the Y Experience at the San Diego YMCA. They do more than fitness, but their 14 locations across the county all have gyms and pools. And less than 2 weeks into the new year, they've had 2,600 new members sign up.
I think it's just a year of hope. People are hopeful for new things this year. 2023, maybe habits they haven't had a chance to get to do in a couple years.
Moss says over the next 9 months, they expect about half of those new members to drop off. They ran a promotion in January and are holding a challenge next month to help people stick with their fitness goals. At the Y, it's also about building that sense of community.
We want to build a relationship with you so you want to stay. We want to help you find a connection with your group exercise instructor, your swim instructor, other people in the class. So the reason you stay isn't because you have to, it's because you want to.
Fitness instructors say people don't need to be part of a class or a gym to start getting fit. Changing your diet and taking small steps like going on a regular walk or a hike can also help. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
It's something that many of us don't think twice about when we're sick and using a humidifier or a neti pot to feel better. But as Mandy Gaither reports, you might want to reconsider using tap water with those devices.
In the U.S., tap water is typically safe to drink.
Our digestive tract contains many different tools and parts of our immune system to help keep us safe.
But putting tap water in medical devices can be dangerous and in rare cases, even deadly if it leads to a brain infection. And many may not know this. A majority of people who took part in a 2021 survey incorrectly said that tap water could be used for nasal rinsing or rinsing contact lenses and was safe to use in respiratory devices like a CPAP machine, humidifier, or a neti pot.
If you think about how we smell, those nerves go directly from the top of our nose up into our brain. And so that in some instances, may be a direct conduit for infection.
Dr. Kara Wada with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says there are easy ways to stay safe. First, you can buy distilled or sterile water at the grocery store or a medical supply company. If nasal rinsing, buy a sterile pre-mixed can of saline rinse. Or you can boil your tap water.
It needs to boil for about 1 minute. If you're at higher elevation, then that will need to be extended to about 3 minutes. Then you can let that water cool down and use that to mix up your saltwater solution.
When used properly, Wada says saline rinses and products are a great way to help you feel better.
I wouldn't get too scared, but I also would take these extra steps to ensure that you are doing this safely.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
If your favorite NFL team is out of playoff contention, then you can turn your attention to a different kind of bowl game with two locals in the mix. The Helen Woodward Animal Center is sending a pair of puppies to the Animal Planet Puppy Bowl. Carlos and Crockett are dachshund blends from the same litter, and they will be among the adoptable dogs representing rescues and shelters from across the country. And you can catch them in action on Super Bowl Sunday, February 12th. And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. The Paycheck Protection Program kept a lot of businesses afloat during the pandemic. NPR's Morning Edition has details on a new report that details the high levels of fraud by some recipients. And KPBS Midday Edition is covering the economic roundtable happening at USD and how what's happening nationally affects us here in San Diego. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.